Hello, Common Threads. Today we will be working on the Sani-Panti project that we discussed in class. This is the actual pattern for the pad, and this is the pattern for the pad cover. This is the fabric that I'll be using today, and I have already cut out the cover for the pad. And it consists of 2 layers. What you need for your actual pad, you can use terry cloth. If you use the terry cloth, you're going to need 3 pieces. You're going to have to cut 3 pieces. If you use fleece, you'll need to cut 5 pieces. One of the most important fabrics to use in this project is PUL, P-U-L. That stands for polyurethane laminate. And it's important because that's going to keep anything from coming through your pad. So you're going to need 1 piece cut of that. I'll cut 2. So I'll save this for later for another pad. Let's get started on making our pad. These are 2, by the way, that I've already made. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to start with opening up the cover. Open the cover. And then we're going to put a layer of the PUL on top of this cover. You want the cloth side to be face down on your cover. And this piece is like a sort of like a plastic, this laminate. You want that piece face up so it can catch anything. When you place it down, you want to make sure you have a nice margin around, because we're going to be sewing this into place once we get the other layers on. Okay, so this is the first piece that we're putting on. And remember I said I wanted to use the fleece. So now I'm going to layer that on top of the PUL. And then I'm just going to sew right around the entire pad portion. I have my pad under the needle. You want to just sew right around about 1/4. It's pretty much just to keep this pad in place. And if you want to pin it down to make sure it stays in place as you're sewing, that's fine too. You can use pins, or if you have clips, you can use those as well. So I'm going to go on and start sewing right around, following this guide right here, this 1/4 guide. See, I'm sort of turning my pad as I go, because the top part, it has a little curve in it, and then I'm continuing to go straight. So you're going to do that all around the whole pad. Just make sure you see how that little flap was behind the pad. Just kind of pull that out to make sure you don't sew it into place on the napkin, because you're going to need that when it's time to put your snaps on. I am done stitching around. I'm going to lift my needle. Take it out and cut the strings. The string here on the back too. Cut the strings. And I am going to take the pins out. Now it's time to add the other piece on. Okay, I am going to flip the napkin over, face down, and I'm going to take the other piece of the fabric that we cut, and I'm going to put the two pieces together face to face, red side, okay? You want to make sure that the wings are going in the same direction too. See, this wing is going down. Put that together. You can put a couple of pins in it because we're going to sew again. Only this time we're going to sew around the entire pad cover, but we're going to leave a certain portion open so that we can turn this pad inside out. Okay, so we'll start like sewing here. We'll sew that, no, actually we'll start sewing around here of the wing. See where this little crease is in here? Just come down about like an inch or so and start sewing there, all the way around the wing, around the bottom, this wing, all the way up and around until you get to about here. So you're going to have about the same amount of space starting and stopping from this point and this point. So you're creating like an opening, like a little mouth, because you're going to use that area to turn your pad inside out. I have my pad in place at the right starting point. I'm going to put my presser foot down, and I'm just going to start stitching around the whole pad. And again, with this wing, you're going to do the same thing as you did with the pad. When you come to the curve, just start to gradually turn your pad around the wing. See how I'm lifting and I'm turning it a little bit so that I can keep the same space. If you have any loose threads in the way, just move them. Put my presser foot down and just continue to sew. I'll see you at the other end. Hey y'all, I made it. I'm around to the other end, so I'm ready to take this pad out. Lift your presser foot and your needle. See, I started here, went all the way around, came back around, and this is where I ended. So see, I have a nice little opening in there. I still have strings that I'm going to cut, but between here and here I have an opening so that I can turn it. Okay, I've cut my threads and I'm going to take my pins out. And then I'm going to turn this pad inside out. Here's my opening. Let's get a little closer so you can see that opening. Right through here. I'm just going to put my finger in, actually my thumb. I'm going to put my thumb in. You know how like you turn a sock, you put your thumb in and try to turn it inside out? I'm using that method, trying to pull this other wing through first. And once I get that through, it should be easy to pull everything else through. See how this is coming through? See? Pulling it through. That's the other wing. just start flipping it. I have the pad turned inside out, and now I need to sew together this portion of the wing, and I'll do like a little top stitch on that. Actually, I'm going to stitch around. I'll start stitching the opening, but I'll stitch around this wing. And if it seems to have a little gather in it, you know, you can just kind of like pull it, or before you flip it, you can put some little slits right in it so that it can have more of a give. Okay, so I'm gonna start here and sew all the way around, come around, go around this wing, and come around and seal it. I tell you, talking about these wings is making me hungry. I might have to go and get me some wings when this is over with. Okay, there, I've sewn around the entire pad to seal things into place. Also, I want to mention to you, remember this stitch that I did when we first started? Around here, that one that's in the middle, that was the stitch to hold the pads down on this cover. But now on this side, we don't have it. We just have the stitching around. So what I'm going to do now is put the pad back into the sewing machine and just sew around this portion too. This way, when it's washed, you know, water doesn't get up under it and have it to kind of pull apart. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'll see you back in a moment. Okay, I am almost to the end. Do a little back stitch, and I'm ready to take this out. Okay, I'm going to cut my strings. Okay. See, I went around this portion as well, all the way around, and you have the same thing on the back side. Okay, that just gives it like an extra security. So the only thing left to do to this now is to put on the snaps. I have these pliers that I bought from Join Fabrics, and it came with a few little snaps, although I bought some extra snaps. I've actually never used these kind of pliers, so I had to kind of like read the instructions and go through trial and error. Anyway, there was a piece in there that holds the button, and then one that protects the surface of the one that you're pushing down into the button. Okay, so I've already put the snaps on. There's one. It's kind of hard to see because the fabric is red. Okay, and pretty much what I did, I just put this. See, these two come apart, and I just stuck this into the fabric from one side and put this piece on top, and then use the pliers to fasten it together. Okay, pretty much like this. Just pushed it down on both sides. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm getting ready to take off and go and get myself some wings. Bye.